only a skimmer. £1.5. Got one on now, Sean. Yeah. Only a puppy. Yeah. didn't know you were there. Sorry.
No, I was just put it straight, and I've got a nice picture. I don't need masses. Aidie's just had a small skimmer.
Has he?
Yeah. Sam's on the pole at the moment. He's had one skimmer on the pole.
What's Aidie got weight-wise? Did he say?
I think he's probably got about 12 pounds, maybe a bit more.
Right. The decent skimmers, what I'm getting though, aren't they? Them.
They are, yeah.
I've had 4 of them. 4.
You're chucking a distance further than 80.
Hammer.
Yeah.
I've just swapped a double fluoro maggot now, and it's that's the bait that you want. I think they've been there all the time, but I've been fishing wrong up bait.
Funny how often happens, isn't it?
Because I got that bream on a worm and a maggot. I thought
Yeah,
I'll try a double
Yeah.
maggot, and it's gone straight round. And I've come back, and my maggot was doubled over at point.
Yeah, well, I keep that bit of information under my hat anyway. I feel sorry for Sean between the two of you, actually.
Liner. They're definitely blooming getting there in numbers now. I've just had 2 in 2 bungs, Sean. I've just had 2 in 2 bungs. Yeah, big uns. You know, like 5-pounders.
mate, yeah.
£20 they go up to, so just put a few in at a time, yeah? Yeah. So you...
Beautiful fish, aren't they?
Yeah.
Johnny. Go one more.
Do that.
That
Do
many
that.
that?
Do that.
I'll be over 20 pounds.
Yeah. I went 26 like
You need to get yourself a decent weigh net, mate. Mister.
That's a horrendous stuff.
Hey, I ain't going to scratch this one. We're not too sexy. Let's go in the car. Yeah, they. 17, 6.
Hold that for me. Pop them in there for me.
Right, round 3 of the Drennan Knockout Cup, which was on the River Thames at Culham, and I've only fished the river before once, which was at Medley, and that was in the Drennan Knockout Cup 3 years ago. But the Culham stretch is a bit more different. There's a lot of small fish, but also there's a better chance of catching a bigger bream on the pole and the feeder. And with it being quite a low pressure day, prior to the day, we've had some really warm weather, and then all of a sudden, come the Drennan Knockout Cup round 3 match, it's gone overcast, windy, rained all day, which isn't good for us, but makes a big difference for the bream and the better fish in the river. And it's fished really well on both sides. You know, I mean, like Alan Scotthorne has had £20 of bleak and dace, and there's been loads of bream caught as well. And I've drawn 27 at Culham, which is like the furthest, one of the pegs with the furthest walk. And I think that makes a big difference. You know, sometimes the further you walk, the more fish you might be walking to, obviously pushing them away from the amount of anglers walking along the bank. And with it being overcast and windy and rainy, I just attacked it. I was also told it had a chance, my particular section, of producing some bream. And what we were looking for was, obviously there's 30 in this particular round. The top 15 go through to the semi-final. So basically you're looking at 3 sections of 10. You're looking at coming in top 5 in your section to get through to the next round. That is the main goal of the match. And in my section alone, I had some really good anglers. I had Sam Wildsmith on the end peg, peg 30. I had Adrian Higginbottom next peg to Sam. Then I had Sean Little to my left, one of the best looking anglers in match fishing. To my right, I had Kerry Kirkwood. I had James Dent and Dale Shepherd and some other anglers as well. So it was going to be a tough section to get through, and that's why I just went with a really positive approach. Look, I'm going to go and try and win the match, given the conditions and the area that I was in. So I fed it quite aggressively on the pole line, chopped worm caster, dead maggot through mix. I've used Dynamite Swimstin Reloaded with brown crumb, which is a really salty mix, and it's a sweet fish meal mix that bream will love it, and I've caught loads of fish on that mix this year, so I'm ultra confident with that mix. So I've used it on both my pole and my feeder line, and I've fed it quite aggressively on the pole initially, and I've also fed, let's say 8 feederfuls at the start on my feeder line, 34 turns, which was where the shelf was, maybe 2/3 of the way across, was a very slight shelf. And rather than fishing a bit further past the shelf where it's completely flat, I decided to fish just on top of the shelf with the intentions that if the fish didn't want to be at that particular depth, I could then move back a couple of turns and go to obviously at the bottom of the shelf. And basically I've started on the feeder and I've caught a skimmer, and then I've had another better skimmer and a bream. So halfway through the match I've got like 5 fish, and then I've had a couple of line bites. So I've come down the shelf, I've come back a couple of turns, fished at the bottom of the shelf, and that's where the fish were. So I think making that decision on fishing on the edge of the shelf made a big difference. And I've caught really well at the bottom of the shelf, and I've had some better fish as well. I've had bream up to 6 pound. I've caught on double red maggot, double fluoro maggot, double red worm and a fluoro maggot. They were the best three, best three baits. I've still fished a big hook, size 12 hook, Shimano Aspire Silk Shot 014 hook length. I've just had a fantastic day's fishing, and I've only missed a couple of bites. I've just had one of them matches where everything seems to have gone right for me. I've not even picked my pole up throughout the match. And I've just had a fantastic day's fishing. Really enjoyed it. So I've ended up with £51, which has won the match. And more importantly, got me through to the semi-final, which is at Western Pools. Adrian, who had bottomed just up from me, he had £42. He was second in the match. And Warren Martin, who was in the other section, I've forgotten the name of the stretch where he was, and he had £40, and he caught them on the pole. So that was the top 3. But more importantly, obviously there's 15 anglers now fishing for at Western Pools for the top 4 that will go through to the final of the Drennan Knockout Cup. So the next round's really important. So yeah, looking forward to that. And as I say, just had a fantastic day's fishing. Really enjoyed it. What a river that is. It's awesome.